Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let Joe Talk. As always, I am Joseph Prano, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to be watching me rambling about for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending how much an episode takes. This week I want to talk about Nintendo, and why specifically this year Nintendo has been killing it. 2017 is Nintendo's year, and I am really happy. I've always been a Nintendo fan. Nintendo provided me into the world of video games. I got a Game Boy. That was my first ever system, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP, and I loved it. I loved the system, and then afterwards, my parents got me a GameCube, and then I just been a Nintendo game. I love PlayStation, and I love Xbox, but Nintendo is where my heart truly is. So of course, it pained me the past few years to be a Nintendo fan. Prior to 2017, Nintendo wasn't really doing that well, as everyone knew. The Wii U wasn't amazing. It didn't blow the whole world away, and that was because of the naming, first of all, was because a lot of people who were buying or were considering the Wii U, they didn't know what the hell it was. It sounded like the same thing like the Wii, which did phenomenal because of its motion control, for its design, for the games, and all that stuff. The problem with the Wii U is that a lot of people felt like it was an add-on, and even Target, I remember back in the day, posted the wrong goddamn picture on their catalog, so a lot of people assume that, oh, it's just the same thing, I don't need to buy it again, and that hurt Nintendo. Only the hardcore Nintendo fans knew what the heck the Wii U was, and even we were confused. Why would you call it the Wii U? I mean, shouldn't it have been a different name, a new name? Hell, I would have even taken Project Cafe, which was the code name at the time. And even after that was resolved, they just didn't really, it was already too late, the damage was done. The games that were released following were stagnant. And what I mean by that is that, sure, we had some great first-party titles. We had games like Mario 3D World. We had Hyrule Warriors. We had Zelda Wind Waker HD. We had Captain Toad. We had a lot of great Wii U games, but the problem was those were mostly first title. And the problem with any system is that it's great to have these big first-party titles attached to your console, but the problem that eventually comes between is that what happens in the middle? Because the problem with the Wii U games is that there was such a big gap in between the big games. So it could have been 3 to 4 months, or maybe even 6 months before the next big game to come out. And the problem with what the Wii U did is that when it first launched, there was a bunch of games coming out. There was a bunch of launch games. I remember getting Arkham City Armored Edition. There was Zombie U. There was not that. There were other third-party games, but the problem is after the first year, maybe even after the first year and a half, maybe even to year 2, Nintendo lost a lot of those third-party support because the Wii U was just... It had its problem that the install base, there wasn't that many fans, so to putting on a game on that console would have cost them a lot of money. They wouldn't have made any profit compared to PlayStation and Xbox, which at the time was just beginning the next generation with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and those were improving the hardware, they were improving the graphic, they were improving what you can do with video games, and the Wii U didn't take those leaps yet, despite being released before PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and that was the problem. It just wasn't there yet, and it really sucked because a lot of developers left the Wii U, so it just left it kind of, stagnant. Any games that did come out for the console weren't up to snuff, and again, I said before, the first-party titles came very limited. It was a really long gap, and eventually when you have a drought spell, it's not that good. Same thing with YouTube. If you don't upload for a while, you're going to lose people, or maybe people aren't just going to click your channel anymore. That's the same thing with the Wii U, what had happened. Now the great thing here is that the Switch, what it did better was that every single month we had a brand new release, and that was great. It was able to come back. But however, the lessons that Nintendo learned for the Wii U was of great importance, because right now, as I said before, Nintendo is killing it this year. This is Nintendo's year. Almost every single month since the Switch launch, the Switch has dominated console sale. Now granted, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 have been around for a while, so of course, the amount of new units being sold may have, played a factor into that, but the Switch is just so phenomenal. Every single time there's a stock, it's all gone, and it usually coincides with a new release. So March was Zelda, April was Mario Kart 8, then just last month I got Super Mario Odyssey, and that was huge. And that came out at the end of the month, and it dominated the NPD charts. And that's the crazy thing. Nintendo is popular again. They're finally making a profit, and that's great, because that means Nintendo can keep going with their own vision. Because the thing is, when you go third party, when a company goes third party, they have to follow new regulations from the people who are handling the console. So Sega had to make some changes when they had to start licensing Sonic to Nintendo, to Microsoft, to Sony, because they have their own visions to what a Sonic game should be. So the fact that it had the Switch bombed, seeing Mario or Zelda on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One would have been much different. It may have not even been like a Nintendo game, but just more different. I don't know, it's similar to like Banjo-Kazooie, when Banjo-Kazooie was a Nintendo title for its first couple releases, then it got bought up by Microsoft. It went to Xbox 360, and it was a totally radically different game. So that could have been the same thing with Mario and Zelda, which, had that been the case, would have been awful for the franchises, and who knows, it could have been the next Sonic. I'm looking at you, Sonic Forces. And the thing is now, when the Nintendo Switch launched, of course, it named a bunch of different developers, but no games were actually officially announced, because I think these developers were, okay, we'll make a game for your console, or we'll port a game. However, we want to see how the sales do first. And as soon as the Switch started selling out, as soon as the numbers started flowing in, the money started raking in, all these companies are now, you know, trying to jump on board. So many game developers are starting to push out production for Switch versions of their games, or games exclusive for the Switch. And that's amazing. It's great to start to seeing, you know, more and more games on Nintendo Switch. And not just, you know, crummy games, but actually quality games. And the year's not even over yet. Of course, there's still Xenoblade Chronicles 2. There's like still a couple more Switch indie games. Rocket League just came out. That's pretty big. Skyrim and L.A. Noire just came out. Again, these are just ports, but the difference is between playing them on console is that you can play these on the go. You can't say you can't bring Skyrim on the go. Now you can. And it's great because Nintendo, it's finally back, in my opinion. We're getting a Metro game. We're going to get the first ever main console-driven Pokemon game. Now, Pokemon has now been over 20 years old, and this is the first time we're getting a home console version of a Pokemon game, and it's crazy to think. As well as, not just looking to the future, but 2017 itself was such a big year. Not only did we get a Mario game, we got a Zelda game, and a Mario Kart game. That was just year one. Who knows how long the Switch can last? 3, 4, 5 years? Who knows? Maybe we'll get a full-on Zelda Switch game, because it's technically a Wii U port, technically, but you get what I mean. It's like a Twilight Princess situation. But the thing is that many people are going to be looking past 2017. Now, granted, as I said before, 2017, there was just a lot of bad things happen. Really a lot of bad things happen. But Nintendo's story of its comeback from being not trash, to say the least, not trash at all, more like fallen from grace. Because they dominated with the Wii. Wii U didn't stick. Some 3DS numbers weren't as successful as the DS numbers, and they were losing money. Many people thought this was going to be eventually not the end of Nintendo as a company, but end of Nintendo as a major force in the video game industry. And now they're back. They're back in control. They're back to being who they really are, focusing on the games, focusing on, you know, innovation, because the Switch, you can't say you can't bring a home console on the go anymore. Because it's real, it's here. I really should be showing off my Switch, but I completely forgot. I left it downstairs. Yeah, so this was an interesting year, and I'm really looking forward to what's next for the Switch. What's next for Nintendo? What's the next big move? Because honestly, I want to see a Smash Bros. On Switch. That's my dream. I want to see a Smash Bros. On Switch. I can't wait for Pokemon. There's a lot of games coming, and it's only been year one, and I haven't been this hyped for a console in a while, because with PlayStation, I had Batman Arkham Knight, and then it's Uncharted. It just comes and goes. Xbox, I just buy a shit ton of shooter games, but with Nintendo, you're getting a new quality game almost every month, and that's crazy to think about, and I'm really excited to see where Nintendo goes from here. I'm really excited to see what 2018 has in store. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you like this video, I apologize if there's just some awkward cuts. To be honest with you, I'm shooting this second part on a Friday, and the beginning was shot on a Monday, so really confusing. Sorry for the delay. And once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys for Thanksgiving.